Корабль тонет аж 5 тоннами боеприпасов боепасов. Командование, нам нужна экстренная помощь. Ответьте, черт возьми, мы...
5 hours earlier, 14 bomb-laden drones launched quickly from their pads. Each drone carried explosives equal to 40 kilograms of TNT. For days, satellites had been tracking a Russian cargo ship in the Caspian Sea. The command to launch the Ukrainian drones came from those satellites. The captain of the ship had no idea he was being watched. The vessel, weighing 4,900 gross tons, was carrying a dangerous load of military ammunition. The Russian captain was cautious. Instead of docking at Russia's Olia port on the Caspian Sea, he anchored in the Vuhler-Don shipping canal. This was no accident. By staying offshore instead of docking, the risks were spread out. The ship, named Port Olia 4, was 110 meters long and loaded with nearly 5,000 tons of Iranian-made Shahed 136 and Shahed 238 drone parts, electrical components, avionics systems, and 122mm rocket ammunition. The captain thought this move made the shipment safe. From 800 kilometers away from the front line, the cargo looked secure. But Ukrainian intelligence already knew the timing and route of the shipment days in advance. The discovery came from several sources. Japanese commercial satellites gave the first vital data. Synthetic aperture radar can see at night and through clouds. It detected the ship's track even when its AIS signal was silent. The hull shape and anchor chain were matched in the radar images. Reflection patterns proved it was at anchor. Satellite images taken over time were compared. The drift angle of the ship was measured, and the time spent at anchor was calculated to be 4 to 6 hours. This window was enough for the attack. The Ukrainian drones had to work in perfect coordination. There was no room for mistakes. The second source of information came from intercepted signals. The data showed a multi-direction single-wave strike was possible. The goal was clear, not to blow up the cargo, but to sink the ship in a controlled way. This would bury the weapons and block the supply line. For this task, long-range kamikaze drones were chosen. The main platform was a version of the UJ-26ER drone. Its body was made of composite materials. It had a very small radar signature. The drone flew at speeds between 150 and 180 kilometers per hour. Its guidance system used a mix of satellite navigation and inertial navigation. During the final approach, it had electro-optical confirmation. It flew low over the sea surface to stay hidden. The warhead weighed about 40 kilograms, with both fragmentation and semi-penetrating options. With added fuel, the UJ-26ER could fly up to 1,200 kilometers, so distance was not a problem. The strike package included 14 drones, 12 attackers, and 2 for relay and observation. At 5:25 a.m., the drones synced for their mission. The attackers were split into 4 groups. One axis would hit from the rear starboard side, another from the front port side. The double strike from the rear would aim at the space between the engine room ventilation shaft and the upper stern deck. The double strike from the bow would aim at the control room and bow peak. A 4-drone team focused on the middle section where the cargo hold beams were. Their goal was to break the riveted joints around the hatch covers, open a strip at the waterline, and disturb the ship's balance. The last pair of drones had a diversion task. If patrol boats or tugs came near, they would attack to block those rescue routes. At 5:45 a.m., the drones took off quickly. Their launch was done in stages. The first wave flew from a field in Ukraine at the best range position. Their flight time to the target was about 5 hours. They flew at low altitude, saving fuel, using the navigation system to guide them. At the waypoint, they joined with the second wave. Most of the drones flew at only 20 to 60 meters above the sea, while 2 flew higher at 300 to 500 meters to provide relay and visual control. Their small composite bodies and slow speed looked like sea clutter on coastal radar filters. Because of this, port defenses gave them low priority. The first strike came at 10:28 a.m. A UJ-26 drone with a 40-kilogram high-explosive warhead hit near the upper rear deck. The blast ripped open the thin plates near the engine ventilation shaft and caused a fire in the cable trays. This attack targeted the ship's fuel pumps, generators, and fire control systems. The second strike hit within 30 to 60 seconds. It struck near the starboard waterline, tearing into the hull and causing local flooding. The third and fourth strikes hit the midsection around the hatch covers and the waterline strip. The covers broke, heavy smoke rose, and debris rained down. The ship leaned to starboard for the first time. The bridge declared an emergency. Port security launched 2 tugs and a patrol boat, but at 10:31 the fifth strike hit the bow and shorted out the control room panels. The bridge went dark, switching to emergency batteries. Ukraine had prepared for the final stage carefully. Each drone had a short preset course in case satellite signals were jammed. Even if navigation was blocked, the drones stayed on track in the last kilometers. Also, the warheads were different. Some exploded on contact, others had delayed blasts. This made sure both the outer hull and inner beams were damaged. The 6th and 7th strikes, between 10:33 and 10:36, tore open a large hole on the starboard side. Water poured in faster. By 10:38, the crew abandoned ship. Lifeboats were lowered. Fire spread and the heat grew near the engine room. Still, the explosions stayed below the level that would set off the ammunition. The aim was to sink the ship, not blow it apart. Port defenses shot down 2 drones, but that still left enough to complete the mission. By 10:41, the 8th strike hit the middle section. The ship leaned 5 to 7 degrees to starboard. Flooding worsened. Pumps couldn't control it. The 9th and 10th strikes, between 10:45 and 10:49, damaged the stern shaft tunnel. Propulsion lines broke and fuel oil spilled, feeding the fire. The 11th and 12th strikes blocked tugboats from approaching. Explosions forced them back. The 2 relay drones kept the connection and collected data and images for confirmation. By this stage, the warheads had done their job, breaking the hull, cutting cables, flooding compartments, and weakening the ship's balance. Step by step, power was lost. Pumps failed. Water rushed in. The list worsened, and finally, the ship lost stability. By the second hour, the vessel capsized. By 2:32 p.m., photos showed the Olia 4 partly submerged. 6 hours later, the ship was fully sunk. All the Shahed parts and ammunition went down with it. At first, Russia claimed only minor damage, but soon, photos of the wreck spread online, showing the ship sunk near the port. Ukraine confirmed the success, and satellites proved the wreck's location. Smoke was seen from 10 kilometers away. Verification teams matched the images using cranes, buildings, and poles along the coast. Current models predicted where debris might drift. For the first time, open-source evidence lined up clearly with official data. Russia's transport ministry said only that the incident was being investigated and that sabotage was a possibility. The Astrakhan authorities issued a navigation warning. The cargo itself was the key factor. On August 14, 2025, Ukraine's military said its drones had attacked the Olia 4, which was carrying Iranian UAV parts and ammunition to Russia. Satellite photos from August 19th showed Russia trying to recover what it could. The port of Olia was a vital hub for Iranian arms shipments. Photos and reports showed the ship carried parts for Shahed 238 drones, including electronics and engines. Each set weighed about 200 kilograms. With 5,000 tons aboard, this meant hundreds of drones could be built. Each Shahed can carry 40 kilograms of explosives. The cargo could have supported weeks of drone and missile attacks. This was more than just airframes. The shipment included navigation systems, gyroscopes, and power units, parts Russia couldn't build alone. Without them, mass production of Shahed drones was impossible. Sinking the Olia 4 destroyed both a ship and a critical supply chain. Ukraine had built special software for guiding drones deep into the Caspian Sea. 14 drones striking at once overloaded the defenses. Every hit sped up the sinking. The goal was clear: stop the flow of Shahed drones at the source. The result was a serious logistical blow. This was not only the loss of a single ship, it was a direct hit on one of Russia's most important supply routes from Iran. Without these deliveries, Russia's drone attacks would slow down. Fewer night strikes on cities and infrastructure were expected. Russia believed the Caspian was safe, but Ukraine proved otherwise. The strike showed Ukraine could reach beyond the Black Sea. Now even southern supply lines were at risk. One sunken ship already hurt logistics. 2 in a row would disrupt production. Even one case weakened the illusion of a safe rear area. For Ukraine, the operation proved that long-range strikes were possible. The effects went beyond the battlefield. Insurance costs for Caspian shipping rose. AIS tricks and false signals became common. If Russia used convoys, timing would suffer. If they increased electronic warfare, they would create their own blind spots. Russia might try new routes, but they would be costly and easier to track. Even financial risks grew as insurers raised premiums. Diplomatic moves followed, with Caspian states preparing talks on maritime safety. Ukraine had both cut Iran's supply line and shaken Russia's sense of security. This had more impact than artillery battles at the front. By extending the fight beyond the Black Sea, Ukraine forced Russia to stretch resources. The sinking of one ship slowed the flow of drones, but more importantly, it created uncertainty. No one knew which ship might be hit next. That doubt was felt not only in Moscow but also in Tehran and Baku. The safe rear was no longer safe. And in war, the side that keeps the initiative gains the upper hand. So what do you think of this strike? Could Ukraine's attack in the Caspian Sea change the direction of the war? Share your thoughts in the comments.